Welcome to Behind the Helm. We are so happy you're here with us. The show features myself and Petty Officer Dowden. We work together in Indiana as Navy recruiters. We created the show with the intention to help bring together the past, present, and future personnel of the military to help build a better understanding of what it's like to actually be a part of it. So you'll see anything from like interviews to video reactions or just personal stories of our own to help guide those who have interest in learning more about what the military has to offer and what it takes to make the ultimate sacrifice to serve your country. This podcast can be found on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, and live on Facebook every Thursday at 4 p.m. And that's facebook.com/behindthehelm. So don't forget to like, share, and follow the show so you never miss out on an episode. And thank you to everyone here who supports us. Enjoy. All right, episode 24.
Episode 24.
It's gonna
And
be here.
realistically, we were talking about it's episode 24. We've had a few weeks where we had to due to being out of town or this or that where we missed. So, I mean, realistically, like we're getting awfully close to 30 weeks
30 weeks
of this. And obviously, we're looking a little different right now. Like in this
Yeah.
camera view.
Yeah.
And if you saw our little
Sneak
preview
peek.
sneak peek, we have a new studio. So,
Yeah. So, we thought, kind of want to give the viewers a more intimate, a
Yeah.
little closer to us, something that looks, it may not look like the most professional, but I think you kind of get the idea of what we're doing here.
I think like you when you were on with Staff Sergeant Hilton, like you kind of made not like a stab, but like even said like we're in the recruiting office.
Yeah.
And it was, and there was a lot of times where we would have to kind of tear down our setup because we have people coming in and having wires like it's really unprofessional. Wow, words. I'm good at them, but we had an opportunity to kind of commandeer a small room and really put this together so it can be set up and we can get things correctly and have a better camera shot. I think you can see us a little better and it's not just us like back in a chair. So
Now you can really see how tired I am.
yeah.
No, I'm not that tired, guys. But lots of changes coming your way.
Yep.
Obviously, the new look that we just talked about. I think we might move to that light blue logo. I think I'm really digging
I like it.
I think we might move to that.
I think we just like the change.
I think we can also talk about quickly just new look. Kind of talk about some of the physical stuff that we're gonna have now. We're talking about stickers.
Yep.
And that's more for people in the area, the Indiana area. That
Unless you want one.
Unless you want
we'll
one,
send it to you.
I mean, we might. I've thought, and this maybe we'll save it more towards the end, but this is something we could talk about now. Is like having like some sort of merchandise.
For sure. I mean,
I would wear a Behind the Helm shirt because I think the logo is cool. Like you just put it right here.
Yeah.
Or maybe on the back. It's the big thing.
I mean, you could literally do a polo like with it embroidered on it, like for sure. So, and these are all things like, and now we're spitballing on stuff that we've kind of talked about. But I think the big thing, and the reason that we're doing this right now is the fact that, I mean, if you've been paying attention, if you've been here, thank you for still being here because what an exciting time to follow us. And if you're new, hey, this is all news to you anyway. So this will be really kind of the pilot podcast episode, like as a podcast on Spotify and on Apple Podcast. We put one up. We got everything arranged, and it was the one with Staff Sergeant Hilton, which was really good. And I think this will be a good one to lay out everything for everybody because it's going to be a little different.
Yeah, I think the Sergeant Hilton one, I may take it down.
We'll
just so we start off fresh. Plus the way that I mastered that one, I didn't actually like the sound. I thought it was like a little too bassy, stuff like that. So we're basically
that was the test, right?
So basically we've moved on now to Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Yep.
I think we might be in another one. It could be like Amazon. I think I'd have to double check.
We know for a fact Spotify.
But
Apple.
Spotify, Apple Podcasts, we're 100% on there. You just look up Behind the Helm in the search tab, and you'll find us there. And for us to be a podcast, I felt like that is the move. And this will be the first episode on there.
Mm-hmm.
And I used to podcast before.
Right.
I
mean, we've been talking about podcasting, or you wanted to do a podcast. This whole thing started with a conversation.
Yeah.
Over a year ago.
Yeah, when I first got here, because I thought when I got here, it was like the pandemic. Like the pandemic just started, and I was like, okay, I already got to think, a little bit outside the box. And as you can see, if you're watching the video right now, I'm just adjusting this. I got like every button open.
Yeah,
it's like I'm out in Miami right now.
Yeah, we did. Like it was definitely an opportunity to think outside the box. You want to be outside. You don't want to be inside the box. You really want to be outside the box, and you're thinking. And I think the problem that we had was we got a little stuck in the box, because then it was like, well, we don't have this and we don't have that, and we kept pushing it off and pushing off and pushing off. And I think finally we were both just like, let's just do it. And you can see the evolution. Like I would almost say every single episode, it has gotten better and better, and you can just see us just get out from inside a box.
Yeah, just try to. We wanted to constantly just keep moving forward with this.
Absolutely.
If we just stuck around with the idea of it, this thing probably would have never happened.
That intro video, that's new.
That's
right?
new, yep.
The intro audio, if you're listening on the podcast, but since we're talking about the podcast site, right, and we're talking about being on the podcast as well, let's talk about the format for the podcast. And obviously, if you're listening to this right now on podcast, you already know that. But what changes for those who are watching us live compared to podcast?
So if you're watching live on Facebook, that's every Thursday, 4 p.m.
Right.
Eastern. Right, and you can find that on Facebook. Just type in Behind the Helm. It should pop up.
Mm-hmm.
That will be the entire show, all in one thing. It's the most inclusive way to listen to the show because we're live. You can ask us questions. We'll answer them live.
Mm-hmm. And your questions could even change the dialogue that's happening. That's happened a lot.
You could definitely take part in moving the direction of the show.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to be the most involved in the show, that's how you do it.
100%.
And we'll have a subject matter that we do for about a half an hour, roughly a half an hour, and then we do like a bonus content that's more or less just kind of a fun thing. Try to keep it as related as possible. Sometimes it might not even be related to
most of the
military
time. It's Petty Officer Levesque shotgunning Petty Officer Dowden with something.
Yes, yeah, that's usually what's going on. So
it's like your favorite thing,
and you could get all of that through Facebook Live now. For our YouTube page, we're going to segment it.
Well, before you get to that, though, right?
Yeah.
So for podcasts, so like where that changes is like you were saying, we're going to do 30 minutes of content on something.
Yes.
That content is what you will have on podcasts, because a lot of the extra content we do is more video oriented. Mm-hmm. So we're going to trim and when I say we, it's me watching you do it.
Yes.
It's been very well known. You're the technical expert. I just stare at it and go, yeah, that's good. So that's what the podcast will be.
Yes.
So the live show is the easiest way, like you were saying, to see the whole thing in its entirety from start to finish and interact, right? Mm-hmm. And then the podcast will be that 30 minutes. Man, I'm struggling today. 30-minute subject matter that will be posted there that you'll be able. It's convenient. It's a podcast. Be able to download it. You'll be able to listen to that. You won't have to be there live. You don't have to have Facebook, right? So that's the change on the podcast side of it, right?
Yes.
Now you were getting ready to.
Yeah, and then we're gonna our YouTube page, which we had for a little bit. It was just, it felt like we just had to make one. But now we're gonna move into actually using it, in a way that you guys will be able to interact and get what you want out of it. So the YouTube page is gonna be segmented. So you're gonna have one video that kind of goes along with the podcast. If you wanted to watch the podcast, you can watch it on YouTube. But what we'll also have is we'll have extra content, and we're going to take that part in the Facebook Live where we just do that fun thing. And if you wanted to watch just that, you can watch that on YouTube. So that's the best place to go if you either want just the content of the subject, or if you wanted the extra thing, or you wanted both, you can watch them both at the same time. So YouTube is going to be moving forward podcast is moving forward in a direction, and Facebook Live is going to stay
A lot.
exactly the same.
And a lot with the YouTube thing, like, because you can still watch the Facebook Live show, not like after the fact. You can watch the whole thing.
Yep.
But some feedback that we've got is that not everybody has Facebook. Without Facebook, you're not getting on to see that. Whereas YouTube, you will still be able to see it, not live, but you can still watch it in its entirety.
Yeah.
So that's a lot that's happened in a very short amount of time. Petty Officer Levesque took, what was it, last Friday? I mean, we just kind of hammered that out, like the podcast part of it. It's things we've talked about, and we want to move forward with it, and that's what we're doing. So let's talk about scheduling on that. How are we gonna? What can you expect? We already know Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Facebook Live on Facebook. Yep. That's starting right back up. We'll hit that next week. Be there, and by next week I mean it'll be the first week of September. Technically, it'll be September 2nd.
So you will be able to find all of our
second.
What?
Is it September 2nd? Let's double check that before September 2nd.
Has the screen ever just gone out like that?
No.
That's really weird.
It might just be because we're recording. And now this screen has gotten brighter, and now it's messing with our color.
Yeah, let's go ahead and shut it off.
Yeah, let's do that. Oh my gosh.
We'll edit that in post.
We'll edit in post. Yes, that's okay. Like this is.
I don't think we're actually gonna edit in post.
No, we're not at all.
We don't edit anything in post
ever. Like that's 100%. Like this is the type of stuff you get on live. Go back. The problems that we've had. I mean, we've literally lost power.
Yeah.
In the middle of a show, we've literally, but 100%. So back to what we were talking about. Sorry about that. Is scheduling. Yes. Facebook Live, 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Thursday. September 2nd will be the next one. Make sure you go to that Facebook page, find it, like it, share it, follow it. And then as far as when can you expect for those podcasts? When can you expect for that audio to be up on Spotify and Apple Podcasts?
So it will be the next day.
Next day.
I think we're going to do same time. It will premiere at the same time the following day.
4 p.m.
4 p.m. So you can watch it and listen to it at 4 p.m. the next day. That's how we're going to do that.
Right. So 4 p.m.
It kind of gives us the time to make sure we make final edits or anything that needs to be in place. Something could have happened on Thursday where, recruiting gets in the way of a lot of things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, not gets in the way. We love it.
Yeah.
So 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Friday, then you can expect for that podcast to post. And here's the best part about Spotify and Apple Podcasts if you've never used them. You can follow it. Just like you can a page, you follow it, and as soon as that posts, you will be notified. You can get in there and listen to it. I know you're chomping at the bit. You want to hear this, So
we've already had 10 downloads on the Sergeant Hilton one.
You're welcome. I did all 10.
You did all 10?
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding.
You got a lot of devices.
Yeah,
a lot of
I download on every TV, every tablet, every laptop I have. No, I'm just kidding.
I know some guys who have some bot accounts.
No. That was all you.
Yes.
All right. So that's the time frame for that. And then what were we talking about for YouTube? What can people expect? When can I see that
same
YouTube
time.
video?
Same time.
So Friday, I thought we were talking like the next.
Yeah. So the next day, the podcast and the video on YouTube will
both
premiere
will be
at
Friday.
the same time.
Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard. So that'll be.
You cool with that? I mean, I think this is the first. I know I said earlier we would do the morning.
Yeah.
But I was literally sitting here thinking about it. I'm like, I don't want something to pop up and not be able to.
Let me talk to our technical engineer real quick. Hey, Levesque, are you good with being able to get those up by 4 p.m. on Friday?
I think I can do that.
Yeah, man, that's good with me.
Okay, yeah, that's cool.
So 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Fridays, then you'll be able to get notified on those. Same thing with the YouTube channel, right? Mm-hmm. Now on the podcast itself on Spotify, you can't do as much, but like on the YouTube, you can also comment there. We'll watch that comment. You can comment after the fact. It doesn't have to be at the live show. Mm-hmm. It's just not as interactive. You're not going to be able to drive the direction. So that's great.
So I think we can kind of get more into. I mean, a lot of this is. I had the vision for the show. I came to you with the idea of the show. Mm-hmm. I'm the type of person with this stuff where I just start going down rabbit holes of
Yeah, you
where
do.
I want things to go.
I think
And like the ultimate plan. And I know it's not going to be in the near future, but it's kind of, hopes and aspirations for what I want the show to be. Now, let's talk about the fact that me and you at some point will not be together anymore. All right. So I want this show to live beyond us. All right. We're going to be here for, I think together for at least the next 2 years.
possibly 2 years.
I may or may not extend here.
Probably easily
So
2 years.
2 years, and what I expect the show to turn into in the next 2 years is something that, I hope that maybe there could be, like those little sponsorship things. We kind of move into that where, we start off like this show is sponsored by blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? The show is not, but this is our show. It's 100% our show. The Navy does not, sponsor us or anything like that. This is our own privately produced show. Our thoughts and opinions do not reflect those of the actual Navy, right? And that's a big thing that I don't think we've ever said.
I think sometimes they do, but like most time, like we really do try to stay very candid and we stay professional. And yes, we do mention that we're recruiters and we can help you get to that. But we just don't, I think that was a good thing to put out. That's very true. We are not like sponsored or everything that you see is us. It is our opinion. It is a strictly opinionated, sometimes bias, right? Sometimes bias,
a little bias
podcast with some sprinkling of history and truth.
I like that.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I want the show to turn into. It's going to become more and more and more professional, more regimented, more or less like you won't be able to tell whether you're watching some janky recruiting, because a lot of people may think that's what this is, podcast, and more or less an established podcast of two guys who I guess are in the military
that genuinely care. And I will tell you that, it's not just a recruiting thing. And for those who've been here before, that. Like you've seen that, just the last episode. If it was strictly a Navy recruiting thing, why would we have a Marine recruiter on here? We really do care for the information. It's not just to help people get into the Navy, but absolutely 100% we will do that. It's also to help those veterans in active duty find certain benefits. I can honestly say in the 30, almost 30 weeks that we've been working on this, and I mean this, after 10 years in the Navy, from what we've done, I've learned about benefits I did not even realize were available to me. So although the start of it was one thing, I really do believe that for active duty and veterans, like, we're putting out information that really could help you. And that's why we look for comments and things, because sometimes the things that you tell us and give us, and it really helps us get that out to people who may 100%. Need it.
Things that we talked about before, like the merchandise stuff. I mean, that's not going to happen anytime soon, but it is something that I think we're going to move into, just like maybe a little website for things, you know. Not that we're trying to make money off of this, but technically because this is not a Navy per se podcast. This is our own.
Yep.
We could be doing this, technically, I mean, if we want to be honest, this is working hours. So, you know what I mean? Like when we do this, it is working hours, but it's hours. So we could, this is our thing. And that's what I'm talking about. Like when we're done with this, when we're done recruiting, I think this could be something we just continue to do.
And I think this is where me and Petty Officer Levesque mesh really well, because you do get down, like you're saying, you get down rabbit holes on things where I kind of rein you in a little bit. Because we did just the other day, like we were talking about merchandising and different things that we wanted. And when I say merchandise, like even just the stickers, talking about equipment, certain things that we want to do to make it easier. Like when we have a live guest, and it was like, well, we found this and this and this and this. And then hold on, pause. Look at all this, like this adding up. We got to see, all right, what do we want to do first? So
this is a 2 year.
Yeah.
Envisioning,
week to week, like you keep coming back here, you're going to see a lot of evolution. You're going to see evolution in equipment. And I think this was our next big jump that really showed us. And I want to thank everybody that has been there and has shared and watched and liked, because that is what has driven us. We didn't know how it was going to work out. Like, do we have a 10,000 person following? No. Maybe one day, but just the ones that have been there week after week has given us the drive that even if it's one person that watches, listens, we want to make it better for that one person. So absolutely.
With that said, I don't know what's going to happen next week, but man, people always blowing out the phone whenever we do the podcast.
Well, normally that's why I like put mine on silent.
Oh my gosh. Appointment set by E-Town. But I don't know what's going to happen next week, but I think that's also something we're going to work on.
We are. In fact, with the new studio, there is a board behind the camera that you can't see, and we actually have notes. We planned this out, and somehow we still get derailed. But we actually thought about
what that's the point of a podcast.
Yeah, 100%. But like we actually gave thought, and we're trying to be a lot more forward thinking on that. There will still be like the bonus content stuff. I'm sure a lot of it will still be shotgun because that's what makes it fun, and we enjoy doing that. So we just want you guys to enjoy it. And for those of you who are new and are just finding this as a podcast, man, you're going to be in for a ride. Thanks for backing me up on that.
I don't know what to say. I don't know what to say.
Shocked you on it? Got it.
Yeah.
Got it. But absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, I think that's
a lot of enthusiasm. I'm hyped. I'm internally hyped.
Yeah.
Like by your enthusiasm. What?
Just give homage to the eagle.
Yes. Thank you. And you're going to see this grow. These are our podcast awards.
It's not going to grow, man. That eagle is, dude, it's brass. It can't grow.
Oh, that's true. Well, we're going to get some knickknacks and stuff here.
Knickknacks.
But, thank you guys for tuning in. I know this one was, a little bit shorter. There's no bonus content this week. That's what's going to happen next week.
Setting it up.
Setting it up.
Tee it up.
So thanks for stopping by. And you guys have a wonderful week.
Feel free to still comment on this video, though. And as always, find it, like it, share it, follow it. Thanks, guys.
Peace.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. You were just behind the helm. To see this podcast live, check us out on Facebook every Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you were listening to this podcast on Apple or Spotify, head on over to our YouTube page to see this show and extra content. If you're on YouTube already, click the video below to see the after show and bonus content that's available right now. No matter what platform you're on, find the link in the description to find the links to all our other platforms. And as always, find it, like it, share it, and follow it. Thanks, guys.